Hello.
Hi, how are you?
So I did it correctly then.
Yeah, it's always really scary, isn't it, when you're first going on thinking, is this going to actually work?
I've no see, despite doing social media, I've absolutely no idea what I'm doing when it comes to online anything.
I don't believe that.
It's true, I swear, I'm absolutely shocking at it.
I'm very excited that we're getting to do this together, so I really appreciate it.
Emily, thank you so much for having me or
Vice
for doing this with me.
versa.
It's amazing. So why don't you explain a little bit about your lovely company and what you're doing?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. So I'm a dermatologist. I've been a dermatologist for a long time, and a long time means more than a decade, but I'm not going to say exactly how long. That gives away my age. But it's a very long time. I've been practicing in dermatology since 2004. And I work in our National Health Service here, but I also work in private practice. And then I also have a television show which goes out in lots of countries around the world, looking at people who have extreme sound. Somebody, can you hear me okay? Is my sound okay?
Your sound is
Oh,
perfect on my
fine.
end.
Sorry, just so that come up.
Perfect.
That's okay.
I know, I saw it as well.
Which have extreme skin conditions. So I've got this wealth of knowledge, I suppose, in how people really are affected by the way their skin is. And that is not just if it is a really kind of large skin condition or a facially disfiguring skin condition, but even the everyday of these common skin conditions that often are, slightly dismissed by some, but it can have such an impact on how someone views themselves, and even down to as much things like the kind of jobs that they might go for, whether they will go out on a night out with their friends. All of these things our skin can play such a role in. And so through this practice, I was seeing patients day in and day out, and was, I suppose, getting slightly frustrated with some of the skincare that they were perhaps using. Now, I love skincare. I love cleansers. I love moisturizers. I love SPFs. And, there are amazing SPFs and everything out there, and cleansers and moisturizers. But really, what people were struggling to get, I suppose, were if there is a medical condition, or if they want to do the best thing that they can for their skin in terms of redness or aging or pigmentation, well, it's quite hard to get in and get those ingredients that we know are very effective, because essentially a lot of them are medicines, and getting to see the doctor or a dermatologist can be difficult. So I set up Klira to try and solve that problem, but also to solve it in a beautiful way. I wanted to make sure that our formulas were beautiful to use, beautiful to look at, but also not really understanding that one size does not fit all for people's skin. And this idea that, your skin is either dry or oily, it just doesn't work like that. And it's more to say that when somebody comes, they might have a problem with pigmentation and skin sensitivity and aging or whatever it is, and dividing those people up into what we call skin sizes, so that we can get them the exact treatment that they need, but more importantly, help them understand their skin and then get it to the place that they really want it to be at. So Klira, in a nutshell, is an online dermatologist in your pocket, giving you gorgeous formulations that you'll actually want to use, and then you will see the results of.
And if I'm not mistaken, it's not just that the actives are not only prescribed for you, but in the correct dosage to begin with, but also that the base is prescribed to you, because a lot of other companies, the base is very benign. It's nothing. And yours is different, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. So when you complete our consultation online, it's a very detailed consultation. It's not just one or two questions. It's a sit down, get yourself a cup of tea, and this is going to take a while, because it's trying to replicate what would happen if you came to see me in clinic. That's what essentially it's trying to do. And so therefore, we then understand, say if somebody is wanting to use a particular active, if they are a very sensitive skin type, often I can't get that active into their skin unless the base is exactly right. So what this consultation does is let me formulate specifically for that person what goes into the base. So if they need more hyaluronic acid or squalene, or if they need some ceramides for their skin barrier, whatever it might be, I then am able to put that into the base to help the active stuff get in and do the job it needs to do.
It's different because a lot of other companies and very similar, as I mentioned, the base is very benign, but your company, at least for my skin size as well, was one of the few that said you don't have to use a moisturizer. And it's so refreshing for somebody like me who wakes up with greasy skin and goes to bed with greasy skin to hear that I do not need to use a moisturizer if I do not need one.
That's exactly right. There are many people in the world who do not need to use a moisturizer, and actually you're so lucky because your sebum is doing that job.
Oh
And
yeah.
you have a great skin barrier, and you've got sebum that's doing that job. So to put extra on, you just don't need. It's a step that you don't need. And I think helping people understand what their skin needs is probably the greatest job of a dermatologist to be able to do. And so you can go, yeah, you've saved yourself 6 extra seconds in the day and probably about 60 quid.
Yeah. I mean, I used to love, I do a lot of reading on skincare, and people would, there was that old myth that, well, you've got oily skin because you're not using a moisturizer. But every time it would just become even oilier than, and for somebody like me, you said earlier on, that you love skincare. I love a cleanser. I have a love-hate relationship with everything other than cleanser because sunscreen, oh, for somebody with oily skin, it's just to find that perfect one that just doesn't exist.
Have you found
That
one yet?
leaves, no, not
No.
that leaves me matte skin all day long. No,
Have you
still
tried?
searching.
Did you try the La Roche-Posay Anti-Helios oil control shine? Have you tried that one yet? Oh, this is the one. I'm going to ask them to
It's
send it
good,
to you because
is it?
it is really well, it's great for your skin size. It's not great for my skin size, but it's absolutely perfect for you. So I'm going to ask them to send that to you, and you can put this to the test.
I've got to get on it because I use my sunscreen. I'm good at it. Do I enjoy putting the amount that's required on? No. Like a pea-size amount, I'm like, oh, that's amazing. But when I actually do the full whack, I'm like, oh no. But I could just feel it, becoming oily.
You will have a little bit of benefit as well, but because your skin is oily, because that in itself is a little bit of a natural protector from UV. So you will have that protection that somebody else who doesn't have oily skin will have. So your sebum contains quite a lot of natural antioxidants. So then you get this reduction in the oxidative stress that the UVA would otherwise be getting through and potentially causing some irritation. So it doesn't protect you enough. Like, don't ever think that, but you do have that little bit of extra protection.
And I have a skin size 2,
Your
I
skin size
believe,
too. That's right.
which is in effect just a greasy mess, if I'm not mistaken.
Not quite right. I've actually got a little card here, and I'll kind of hold it up for how we do this. So this is so skin size 2. These are all the metrics that I look for whenever I'm trying to put something into somebody's formula for them. And so your formula is literally just made fresh for you and then comes to you. There's no batching. It's just all individual. But you can see, if somebody's got a very strong skin barrier or a weak skin barrier, where the pigmentation sits. So depending on what these are, depends really then on what I'm going to put in. But so a skin size 2 is somebody who makes a lot of sebum. And actually, so you can go right off the scale, which you are, or you can be a little closer to the middle. And then so that would be skin size 2, and somebody's skin size 2 has also got this tendency to bits of pigmentation as well. And again, you can be off the scale for it or just a little bit. But you've also got a great skin barrier. So, but actually sometimes having such a good skin barrier is a little bit of a problem, because to get the actives and things in to do the job, actually sometimes if your barrier is so great, it's more of a problem to get it through. So we always have to bear that in mind as well. So you need kind of stronger stuff to get in to do the job that it needs to do.
Does your skin size change with age and as we get older?
So what can happen is typically your skin size is based on what your genetics have predetermined you to have, but also it's based on your epigenetics. So in other words, how you've behaved and what you've done to your skin. So have you been a lot in the sunshine? Have you not used your SPF? All of these kind of things. And therefore it can actually change whenever when you get older, or if, say, for example, you've done 10 years of really good SPF, then you can potentially swap your skin over. People's skin get drier as they get older, and you will notice that. But even that, you're quite at the far end of the sebum scale. So even if you get drier, I think that you'll probably still be a skin size 2.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be for a long time. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's been a problem my
Yeah,
whole
and
life.
I
Uh,
think partly as well, it's about giving you the routine to keep you almost as good in the middle of your skin size, so that you don't get to the extremes where you can then run into getting problems.
and I think people. So I've used prescription strength retinoids in the past. I used it for a long time. I took a hiatus, which was the most ridiculous thing I ever did, where I decided to do a course, a very long course of skin peels. And during that course, I realized that my skin really does not like acids like that. It did when I was younger, but as I got older and during this course, it became very apparent that I was doing way more damage than I was doing good. And ever since that, I found it very difficult to get back onto the prescription strength products. The one that I have from you, it's got quite a small percentage in to start with, right? So that I'm able to work my way up without my face falling off, getting red, getting flaky, getting nasty. Because I think a lot of people are frightened to start because of some of the side effects.
Yeah, I think that's right. People are frightened to start some of these treatments, especially because they are difficult to use, which is why part of the reason they're not available just for everyone to buy. But also there are the scare stories that you would see in the online social media and things like that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we come in. We have a full dermatology team. It's a team we've worked together for 10 years in our different NHS practices. And this team are also on the other end of the phone if anybody ever has a problem, they want to chat to somebody or they want to email. So they're there always. But like you say, we typically start off most people on quite a low dose, just so that you can get used to the routine of it, because this truly is a marathon and not a sprint. This is a very different way of thinking about your skincare. It's proper serious skincare. It's not, oh, this fad's here this week and now I'm going to try this. And this is for grown-ups who really want to do the best thing that they can for their skin. So I think that being able then to start off low and you can understand the process of it really just gives people that security. And then gradually we increase, and it goes pretty high.
Oh,
So
I've no doubt that I'll be back. I've no doubt that I'll be back to the strength that I was on for many, many a year. But at the moment, I mean, I've been on it now for a couple of weeks, and the for me, as a minimalist in terms of how I like makeup to be and all that kind of stuff, to wash my face, apply. So I've got mine here, which is wonderful. I apply 2 pumps. That's it.
that's like actually that is it.
No, no exfoliants, no serums, no nothing else. Cleanse my skin. I apply this, and in the morning I apply sunscreen. That's it. It's a
That is
minimalist
essentially
dream
it.
come true.
I had somebody last week on. We do these check-ins with our patients online. So somebody will just have a chat like this for about 15 minutes. And the patient last week was so funny. He said, "I've been on it now for a year, Emma. It's just the best thing ever. The only thing is I like it to be complicated. So can we make it a bit more difficult?" So I said, "Yes. Wash your face, put on your Klira special, and then do a cartwheel."
Exactly. Because, and I think as well that, joking aside, people think that something has to be complicated. It has to be long-winded in order for it to produce results, because we see 15, 16 step skincare routines. And when you've only got one, you kind of think, well, hang on, that's not going to work, but it does.
Yeah, I mean, the evidence that we know that I put into the creams is not evidence that is from a kind of assumption that this might work. This is from really hard evidence from, you know, the early 90s, actually late 80s, really, that, you know, these have licenses to do the job that they say that they're going to do. And we have studies that have gone on for many years. So it's not, and being able to look back and see these differences in what the skin looks like, but not just about, oh, my skin feels different, the skin looks different. Biopsies prove that it's different. Clinical photography and silicone impressions of the skin show that it's different. So in this one little pot, the one and done, as lots of people will call it, you know, that's got in it all of the things that does the exfoliation, that does the moisturizing, that adds the ceramides if you need ceramides, and that does all of the brightening, that switches off the pigmentation, all the things that you kind of are thinking are going to happen with your exfoliator, serum, toner, whatever routine. It's just in this one thing at the right dose, and it feels nice.
Yeah, it does. And I think as well, I mean, Klira as well, if I'm not mistaken, it obviously deals with as we get older. So people who are concerned about wrinkles, acne, pigmentation, it deals with the whole spectrum, I guess, for how we look after our skin. So if you're somebody like me who's getting older, you just want to maintain your skin and so it can look as good as it can. Or if you're somebody that needs to deal with pigmentation or acne or any of those things, rosacea, the formula can help with that as well because it's specific to
Yeah,
you.
that's right. So it's pretty much all of the common facial skin conditions that you've just recited perfectly there. And it's all of those conditions is really what we were setting out to be able to treat. And also those people who want to seriously do better aging for their skin if they've perhaps been a bit naughty with it in the past.
Yeah, and I'm not going to lie, that would have been
Me
me as
too.
well. You know, yeah, it's a terrible thing. I've got quite fair skin naturally. It's not certainly not on the very pale spectrum, but it's always been quite fair. But I was one of those lucky people that could tan incredibly easily. And and I did for
Yeah.
a very long, not always intentional, but I certainly did. And I paid for it. I remember being in my sort of early 30s, and I noticed this little sort of freckling coming just at the hairline. I remember thinking, what the hell's that? And then I
And
knew full well what
then
it
like all those
was.
years.
Yeah.
I mean, I was the same. You know, I'm Irish, as you can probably guess by my accent, so Celtic skin. But I spent a lot of time in Spain, and grew up, you know, in the 70s in Dubai. So I've had a lot of sun exposure over the years. I used to have tanning competitions with my friends as a teenager. You know, terrible things that we would do. So you know,
Good
I'm
days.
I'm I'm a reformed tanner myself.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, it's bizarre, isn't it? It's bizarre the things that we did when we didn't know any better. And I think, and now we do. And I've got to say, oh, excuse me, sorry, I just dropped it. I've got to say, and I'm not sponsored, by the way, by yourselves. I'm not being paid for anything here. Um, it's just, I know I just spoke about the simplicity again, but it blows my mind that I'm able to use something very specific to me, and I'm really referring to the base. To be able to have a specific base that I don't have to purchase additional serums and layer them and all that kind of stuff, which always felt very heavy on my skin because my skin really doesn't like, as I get older, to be touched much. It just likes a nice cleanser, love a cleanser, and and a treatment, and leave it be. And I've got to show you, my skin is a lot happier since doing that, keeping it very simple but incredibly scientific.
Yeah, I mean, I love that. It's simple, but it's entirely scientific. Yours will be in the aloe base with the extra hyaluronic acid as a soother. And how does that feel on your skin then at night time?
So for me, it feels perfect, but within, and I mean this quite literally, within 30 seconds, the whole thing's
Yes.
absorbed. There's no tactile nature to it. It doesn't, there's no sticky nature to it. It feels like nothing. And that's what I love. I don't want to feel a heavy base of anything on my skin because it makes me feel uncomfortable. And it takes me back to my, early teens when I would have very bad acne. So I've always been kind of wary of heavy creams because, I'm always frightened it's going to cause something. And this feels like nothing. Probably maybe just shy over 2 weeks now I've been using it. No breakouts, no irritation. And I have been experiencing irritation while trying to get back into prescriptions. No irritation, no redness, and no sandpaper skin that I've had before. Just nothing, just normal looking skin. Hurrah.
Honestly, I'm so pleased to hear that. And like you say, your love of the light base with all of those things, I'm almost the exact opposite to you. So I have my one I always have formulated is laden with so much shea butter and extra squalene and all those things that you would hate in your base.
Oh, it feels great for like a split second when your skin feels like glass, but I have to wait like 10 minutes for my skin will feel like
Before
glass
you go to
anyway.
bed.
Yeah, I'm totally good with it. Now you've very kindly as well given, I believe, 50% off to anybody for the first month that wants to try your lovely
Yeah.
skincare, which is just divine. And what I'll do is I'll save this. I'm going to say it now. I'm going to save this video. I don't know how yet, but I will. And then I'll add that information to the description bar, and then hopefully people can come to you and get some truly professional skincare advice and help, because we're all inundated with nonsense from the minute we wake up.
Well, I mean, it's the consumption nonsense as well, which is just the other thing that just makes you feel so frustrated. So I think that's exactly right. Nonsense that you just, people want to buy the stuff and they want to buy the stuff that they like and it works for their skin and actually makes a difference. So I suppose that's really what this is trying to do is to just, you want to fix this part? Well, this will do it.
Yeah, and we really want to buy the 300, 400, 500 pound skincare cream, right? Because
Yeah,
it's bound to do more. The higher
exactly.
that costs, the more it's going to do for your skin. Even if it's by sheer force of mind or force of will, it will make your skin better, right? And it doesn't.
It
It
just
just never,
doesn't.
no. I've tried so many, nothing. I always look the same.
Now you've got the real stuff.
Exactly. And I'm looking forward to and I hate to use the word journey because, but I'm looking forward to the process of moving back into something that I knew worked before I foolishly walked away, and doing it now in such a gentle manner so that I'm going to avoid potentially the side effects that can come when you just jump straight in like a maniac. Because we all want to start on the full strength, skin stripper. And then 3 days in, we're like, no, no, no. And this is going to be a beautiful time to get back to where I was and just stay there and be happy knowing I'm doing, what I need to do.
And you will have the support as well at any step on the way, because what we've learned also over the last year and a half of actually, although we've been as a business for the last few years, but a year and a half actually with our patients, is that we now as well understand where people start to run into issues. So we know that when it's so dry, as it has been, so very cold and dry, we also know, okay, we're just going to send a message out to all of our patients who it's relevant to. Just have a think about this. You might want to do this on this day. So we're able to, because of the big community it's essentially built, is give give that specific advice for those individual skin sizes. So you wouldn't have needed it, but a whole lot of my other skin sizes would have been told, maybe think about going on to the thicker moisturizing cream, you know, on those specific days. So even things like that, to make sure that your journey can be as seamless as possible, is all incorporated into really what we do.
You've done an amazing job from somebody that, you know, has tried and tries a lot of things for a living. I've got to say, and I truly mean it, and it is, you know, everything's sponsored these days. It truly, there's no
There's
sponsorship
no
here.
sponsorship.
No, there really isn't. It's been an absolute blessing to try this and to continue using this as well as part of my, I don't even like the word anti-aging because it's such
Better
a
aging.
negative. Yeah, just to look as good as you can for as long as you can. And that's my goal. You know, I don't want to do anything to my face. I just want to let it be and be happy as I get older. I got other things to worry about, let alone not worried about wrinkles. But it'd be nice to have beautiful skin as long as I
I
can.
think that's exactly right. And where you otherwise might run into problems, then this helps us stop those problems from coming. You know, those oilier people might run into those issues then with getting acne and blocks, pores, and all of these things. Difficulty keeping your makeup on because, you
Yeah.
know, your skin is oily. So exactly. So try and keep everybody in the middle part of where they need to be, and just keeping everything as super simple as possible.
You've done a beautiful job, and honestly, thank you so much
Thank
for coming
you.
on the live. I'm going to save this. I'll put the discount for that 50% off for the first month, and thank you again so much for being so lovely.
I
Thank you.
really appreciate you having us on. Thank you so much.
It's a
Take
joy.
care.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye. Bye bye.